Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you the morning after Arsenal's disappointing 0-0 draw with Crystal Palace at the Emirates last night. Apologies first of all if I've stumbled my way through this. I'm absolutely shattered, got in late after that game, and my son kept me up all night, so I'm absolutely shattered today. But anyway, don't want to hear about that. You probably don't want to hear too much about last night's game because there wasn't much to talk about. A pretty drab, dull affair. Arsenal just unable to break Crystal Palace down. Much improved in the second half. Really disappointing in the first half. But the winning run ends at 4 in all competitions, 3 in the Premier League, and kind of brings everyone a little bit down to earth again after what's been a nice couple of weeks of winning football matches. It's kind of the way the season's gone, though, not just for Arsenal, with anyone this season. Barely anyone's strung a winning run together of more than 3 or 4 games in the Premier League, I don't think. So not too much of a surprise that Arsenal's has come to an end now, and especially against Crystal Palace, they just can't beat at the moment. I think it's 5 games without a win against Crystal Palace, going back 3 years now since the last time they beat them. May well have been Giroud's scorpion kick. Might have been the last time Arsenal beat them. Maybe it wasn't quite that long, but it's been a long time. And yeah, they toiled yesterday against them, really. I thought Palace were very good in the first half, looked a threat. Arsenal certainly better in the second half, but couldn't break them down. Didn't really create too many opportunities. Can't really think out of anything where they really went close in the second half, despite having, I think they had 9 shots in all, but like I said, never really looked like scoring. And they've got some issues still to sort out. It was a tough night for the likes of Smith Rowe. He's obviously been so good recently, but Arsenal couldn't get the ball to him in decent areas. He couldn't really get on the half turn yesterday and get at the Palace back line and drag players out of positions for the likes of Lacazette and Aubameyang to run into the space. And Palace were very well organised. I was sitting right behind their bench yesterday, and you could hear Ray Lewington, Roy Hodgson's assistant, was delighted the whole way through with what the team were doing. They clearly stuck to the game plan that they had, and they stuck to it really well. And you could sort of feel and hear the delight in Ray Lewington, especially, and Hodgson, when he did get up off the bench, at how his team were kind of putting the plan into action. They frustrated Arsenal, and they got a thoroughly deserved point in the end. And Arsenal just have to move on now and go into that Newcastle game on Monday night and try and get themselves back to winning ways. It's going to be more of the same on Monday night. It's going to be another team, as we saw in the FA Cup game, who are going to come to the Emirates and sit deep, not give Arsenal too much space, and basically invite Arsenal to try and break them down. Arsenal eventually did in the FA Cup, but it took extra time against Newcastle. And they're not going to get that they're not going to get that Monday night, obviously, so they need to find a way of doing it within the 90 minutes. You kind of look at the big issues yesterday. Obviously, there's no Kieran Tierney. That was the main thing for Arsenal, and it was a bit of a blow. No one was expecting it. It happened on the day of the game. He suddenly got this muscle injury. We're still not entirely sure what it is. Mikel Arteta was keeping it fairly close to his chest last night, but said he was going for a scan on it today. Kind of gave a little bit of mixed messages. Arsenal initially was saying it was just a precaution. Then obviously Arteta said that he was going to go for an MRI scan, and that's got everyone a little bit nervy. But then more you speak to Arteta yesterday, he again sort of, after the game, he kind of hinted that they're not sure. He could be back pretty soon, and we're just going to have to wait and see what the results of the scan are that he's going to be having today. But Arsenal certainly missed Tierney, there's no doubt about it. I think you sort of look at his performance against Newcastle, albeit he had an extra 30 minutes, so because of the extra time, but he created 6 opportunities in that match, Kieran Tierney, for his teammates against Newcastle. That's more than that all of the Arsenal players created combined last night. That shows how much they miss Tierney and what he gives them down that left-hand side. Arsenal really love getting down there with Tierney overlapping. We saw it for the goal for Aubameyang against Newcastle, and without him there yesterday, they really, really missed him, and they were just a little bit toothless down that side. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles had a shocker. I think we all saw that. I don't want to dig him out too much because he hadn't played a lot of football. He's obviously right-footed as well, so he's kind of filling in an unaccustomed role. We've seen him play well there in the past, but he really struggled yesterday, certainly early on, whether it was nerves or just lack of game time. But pretty much everything he did went wrong in the first 20-25 minutes, and that set the tone for the rest of the night, really. So Arsenal are going to have to find a solution to that. It's something Mikel Arteta himself admits. He said, talking about Tierney, how it sort of they had to adjust their attacking plans when he went out. He said, look, it's a challenge when you create a game plan for the day and just a few hours before the game the player has to pull out, but we have other players to do it and they have to step in. Kieran's progression over the last few months has been incredible, and now it's for another player to step in and do what he does, which is right. They do need to step in and do what he does, but it's very, very difficult for them because there's not really a natural left-sided left-back there. Sead Kolasinac has obviously gone to Schalke. Saka's played very, very well at left-back before, and he's naturally left-footed, but he's been playing. You kind of Saka's so good that you don't really want him playing at left-back for the long term because you want him higher up the pitch. So it's a difficult one. So you've got Ainsley, who's done the job. He's a bit of a, he's versatile. He's a utility man, but then he's not naturally left-sided. And we saw that early on when a nice real break from Arsenal got in down the left, and then Maitland-Niles ballooned his cross into the stands with his left foot, and it kind of summed up the whole night really. But Arsenal are going to have to find a way of getting around it, because if Tierney is out for long term, which hopefully he's not, but if he is, then they're going to suffer, as we saw last night, unless they can stumble upon a formation and a system that works. Personally, I think it should probably be Saka, just because I still think he gets up and does give something to the attack when he's playing at left back. At least he's naturally left-sided, but then you need someone to step in on the right side of the front three, whether it be Pepe or Willian, two players who have absolutely flattered to deceive so far this season. And Pepe was dreadful when he came on last night, when he really wanted him to try and win the game for Arsenal. He had a shocker as well. And so that's what Mikel Arteta is going to have to work out. It's what he's going to have to balance, is how you do that and how you find that solution. In terms of Tierney's injury and what Mikel Arteta said, he said, look, we don't know yet. We'll probably know more tomorrow, which is today, after testing him and knowing more about the injury and how long he's going to be out for. Certainly it was a big disappointment on the day of the match to lose him, but hopefully he can be back with us very quickly. So that's what I'm talking about with mixed messages there. You just don't know. I think Arsenal, they just don't know what they're going to discover when this MRI scan comes back. They're hopeful. They're sitting there with their fingers crossed that it's not going to be too much of a long-term issue with him, but there's always the fear that it could be. So fingers crossed on that one. There's a lot of people saying, look, we need to sign a left-back now. We need to sign a left-back because we got rid of Kolasinac. There's no cover for Tierney. We need to sign a left-back. And I can understand that sentiment, but it's very, very difficult, I think, for Arsenal to sign a left-back because, you know that Kieran Tierney is your first choice left-back. So what do you do? Arsenal are very limited when it comes to money. They don't have much. They've got a lot. They need to spend it in other areas of the squad. Essentially, you need another creative player to take the burden off Smith Rowe. You've got the striker situation to think about in the summer. So you don't have much money to play with at all. You're in this massive pandemic, so financially things are very, very difficult. You can't go and spend much money to bring in a backup left back. It's just not. They just don't have that cash to do it. And I know you're all going to say, look, Stan Kroenke can do it. Yes, he can, but he won't, because we know he won't, because he never does. So it's just a case of you've got to spend your money wisely. And is spending it on a backup left back, is it wise? I just don't think it is. I think when you've got Saka who can play there, you've got Maitland-Niles who can play there. He has played well in the past, remember. I don't think you can commit to going and spending even £5, £6, £7 million on a backup left back when you really need to spend the small amount of money or the limited amount of money that you have on other areas of the pitch. So I don't think it's as simple as just going out and saying, look, we need cover, we need to sign a left back for Tierney. I don't see it, and I think that's why that they'll probably try and get through with what they already have at their disposal in their squad, who are two decent players. Saka's done very well at left back before, don't forget that. He's playing for England at left back. That's how well he's done. So yes, it might take him away from the forward line, but then you've got to try and have someone else step up, and I think that's where the issue is. It's not so much on the left back, it's the fact that taking Saka away from that role, no one's stepping up and really doing his business on the right side of the front three at the moment if Saka's not there, because Pepe and Willian are so horribly out of form. A couple of other little things that Mikel spoke about in his post-match press conference. It was a really odd press conference last night after the game. It was very short, and we were there for ages waiting for him because Hodgson was talking. And the way it works at press conferences, you have sort of embargo sections. So you had the bit where you could put quotes out straight away, live sections, but then we have other bits embargoes for some quotes that go out at midday today, then some quotes go out at 10:30pm on Saturday night and 10:30pm on Sunday night and build up to the Newcastle game. So it just went on for ages. Hodgson's honestly went on for over half an hour, and Mikel was waiting all that time. By the time he got there, it was like about 11:15, and he just wanted to go home. And it was nothing really exciting from the press conference, and Arsenal wanted to rattle through it. It was a bit of a non-event, really. But he was asked about Mesut Ozil as usual. Sky asked him about Ozil, as they always do. And he just said, look, I don't know how close he's been before to Fenerbahce. There are some conversations going on with Edu and the club, but nothing concrete yet. So the thing is with that, the whole Ozil situation, Arsenal and Ozil have to come up with a conclusion, resolution to what's going to happen for the next 6 months of his contract. How much are Arsenal going to pay? How much is Ozil willing to give up? Until those two sides can come to some sort of agreement, then the whole Fenerbahce transfer can't happen. It all rests on Arsenal and Ozil. I think Ozil is quite happy to go to Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce obviously desperately want to get Ozil in, but a lot of it all depends about the discussions with Ozil and Arsenal at the moment, and as it stands, they haven't come to an agreement. So we're still some way off. We're certainly closer than we have been before, but we are still some way off Mesut Ozil joining Fenerbahce, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Wanted to talk a little bit about Bernd Leno, who I thought was great again last night. Brilliant save from Benteke in the first half. 4 clean sheets in a row for Bernd Leno. Now, it's actually his first clean sheet in the league at the Emirates for ages. I think it's almost like March 2020 or something like that, before lockdown. But he's playing really well at the moment. I think that he had a difficult start when he came in this season. I think everyone was still talking about Martinez and focusing on Martinez and whether Arsenal should have sold him, whether they were right or wrong, that sort of thing. And I reckon it probably had a little bit of effect on Leno, but we're seeing him back to his best at the moment. We saw him against Newcastle. He rescued Arsenal in the FA Cup. Great save again last night. I thought he played really well. And he's really stepping up and doing an excellent job again, Bernd Leno, showing what a good goalkeeper is. And I think this kind of shows the difficult decision Arsenal had to make in the summer when it came to their goalkeepers. Both very, very good goalkeepers. One of them had to go because you weren't going to be able to keep both happy. I think there was more takers for Emi than there was for Bernd. So Emi was a man who was sold, but Arsenal were full of confidence that Leno would be fine, and he's showing he is fine because he's a top quality goalkeeper, one of the best keepers Arsenal had in a long time. And he showed it again last night. I thought it was great. And Hector was speaking about him after the game. Actually, Hector Bellerin said, look, Bernd's a great keeper. He always has 2 or 3 saves that save us every game. I think we had our chances at the other end as well. We're happy with a clean sheet in that sense. We're improving not just the keeper, the whole team. In the last few minutes of the game, there was a counter-attack, and you could see the whole team was running back no matter what. There's positives to this evening, the clean sheet, but there's still a long way to go. He's right there. I thought their defensive performance was very, very good yesterday, and when they did look like they might get caught out on the counter by Crystal Palace, I thought Arsenal dealt with it really well. Granit Xhaka was great. I thought a really good performance from him. He got back and helped out defensively very, very well, and it was one of his, if not the best performance of the season from him, certainly one of them. I thought he had a good performance. Ceballos as well, maybe because they know that Thomas Partey is now back available and fit and will soon be coming into the team, so both Ceballos and Xhaka are playing for that place alongside Partey, because I think we all know that Partey is going to start. Arsenal's home form is disappointing. 1 win in 7 at the Emirates. That's not good enough. That's something they're going to have to sort out very, very quickly. That's 1 win in 7 league games, by the way, at the Emirates. That's something they've got to sort out very, very quickly if they want to get themselves up the table. It is a worry. It's a funny season. The whole home and away advantage has really been taken away by the whole being played behind closed doors games, but even so, Arsenal would be expecting to win far more games than they are at home. It's what they've done over recent seasons, and it's an issue they're going to have to solve. They're just struggling to break teams down. It's that lack of creativity, really. And pretty much all the teams that they've played, barring Chelsea, which may be why they won so comfortably at the Emirates, all those teams sit deep and they're looking to hit Arsenal on the counter-attack. You think back to Wolves, to Villa, to last night. They're all similar game state. Burnley just sat in completely in that game, and obviously wasn't helped by Arsenal going down to 10 men. And they're just struggling to break teams down, and they're going to get more of the same against Newcastle. So they've got to find a way of sorting that out and finding a way of breaking teams down, because if they don't, they're going to continue to struggle at home, and then you're going to stay where you are in the league table, basically around mid-table, if you're not winning your home games and you're having to rely on picking up the odd win away from home. Just looking ahead to that game at Newcastle, obviously it's some way off yet, but the early sort of team news for that one, Gabby Martinelli should be back available, which is very, very good. boost for Arsenal. He's back training already. Fully expect him to be in the squad to face Newcastle. Arsenal could have certainly done with him against Crystal Palace last night. Thomas Partey could well be pushing for his first start. He came on, got 20 minutes yesterday, looked tidy enough. I think he made 4 tackles in those 20 minutes, sort of showing what he can do defensively, certainly, in that midfield, and how he can break play up and get Arsenal moving forward. So expecting Thomas Partey to be really pushing for a league start on Monday night. Pablo Mari's looking doubtful with his injury. Obviously, it's a tight calf problem for Pablo Mari. That's something that Arsenal won't take any risk on. I expect you'd imagine he'll be out for a little bit yet and won't be available for Monday night's game. And Tierney, we all know about, I've spoken about it already. He's looking very, very doubtful to be involved again. So a few defensive issues for Arsenal to solve. Certainly the left back situation is one they've got to look at and what they're going to do. Do you start Saka on Monday night at left back and hope that Pepe or Willian step up and deliver a decent performance in the front three, or do you stick with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, give him another go and keep Saka in the attacking lineup? It's one for Mikel Arteta, one that he has to decide on, and he's got the whole weekend to do that. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate it as always. It's Friday, so enjoy yourself as best as you can in these mad lockdown times. Enjoy the weekend. I will try and pop on at some point over the weekend, probably Sunday morning, to look a little bit further ahead to that game on Monday night against Newcastle. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.